Hi, this is Courtney Brown, and today I'm going to talk to you about logic models and why they're important in a comprehensive evaluation, what they consist of, and how to build an effective logic model. Logic models really are important. They're important to program planning and evaluation. Basically, a logic model is a snapshot of what your program is to do. It is a quick picture so that you can explain to somebody within 30 seconds and show them what your program does. A basic roadmap or a picture of the program that shows the relationships between what you're doing and what outcomes you hope to expect from what you're doing. Oftentimes it's called a program theory, a theory of action, or just a logic model. So some of the things a logic model can do for you are, first of all, it can help you with your program design and planning. It lets you know what you're going to do, the activities that are necessary in order to accomplish your desired outcomes. It helps you look at the best practice to determine what are the activities that are shown that are effective practices in order to achieve your outcomes. It gets everybody on board, and so everyone understands what you're doing, what you're trying to do, and for what purpose. Then once you've implemented your program, you have a focused plan. Everyone understands, they have all agreed upon your plan, they know what you're working on, and you're able to monitor and improve your programming. You can look at if one area of the logic model is failing, that you can fix that to get to the next level and accomplish what you're trying to do. Finally, it helps with program evaluation and strategic reporting. You can look at what progress you're making toward your goals. You can advocate for your program approach. It's giving you some proof that if what you're doing is making a change, looking at that if-then logical step. And you can teach program stakeholders what your program is doing, show them what's happening, and help them monitor the program along with you. So a sample logic model consists of three main parts. The inputs, and those are the program investments, what is invested in your program, those resources. Next you have the outputs. A lot of people think of these as the activities. These are the things that you are doing with your program. The participation are the people that you hope to reach. So if you're doing a workshop for parents, your participants or your participation would be the parents. Your activity would be workshop. Finally, you have your outcomes. These are the changes that you hope to see with your participants. You can have short-term, intermediate, and long-term outcomes. Short-term outcomes are the immediate things that happen after your activities. So an example might be learning. They have increased knowledge of some sort. Intermediate outcome would be that they are changing their behavior, changing their actions based on the knowledge they gained. And long-term is that conditions change for another person. So for example, the inputs in a logic model could be staff, volunteers, time, money. The outputs, some of the activities that you could have would be training, delivering services, networking, facilitating. Some of your participants could be clients, customers, agencies. Now on this I have satisfaction circled. A lot of times in a logic model, the outcome that somebody thinks they want is satisfaction. Satisfaction is not an outcome. It's wonderful if our participants and our clients are satisfied, but in the end of the day, our outcome should be a change of some sort, a change in knowledge, a change in behavior. Satisfaction really occurs at the output level. We want to make sure people are satisfied with the activity so that they continue to come, but it's not the final outcome. So if you're going to measure satisfaction, it needs to be at this level, not at the outcome level, where we're looking for results, changes. So we're looking for changes short-term in learning, awareness, knowledge, attitudes, skills. Medium-term, we're looking for change in behavior or decision-making. And long-term, we're looking for changes in the conditions, the social well-being, the economic well-being of our participants. So when you go about creating your own logic model, there's some things that you need to keep in mind. First of all, what is the purpose of your logic model? Who is going to use it, and why are they going to use it? Is it something that you're only going to put in a grant application, or is it something that you're going to share with your stakeholders and clients so they understand what your program is all about. I would strongly encourage involving others, so it should not be a single person creating the logic model. Get your stakeholders with you. Sit around a table and go through what is your program and what are you trying to do. The more buy-in you have with your logic model, the much easier your program will go because everyone understands what you're doing and why you're doing it. You also need to set some boundaries for your logic model. People want to add everything to a logic model. Keep in mind, a few slides back when I said a logic model is a simplified picture. This is not your entire program plan. It is not your entire evaluation plan. It's a quick snapshot of what your program is to do. So you want to set some boundaries for your level of specificity in language, in activities, in outcomes. You want to make sure that you understand the situation you're working under. Are the activities that you are proposing possible? Do you have enough funding to carry those out? Are your outcomes actually plausible? So you want to explore the research. What are those best practices? What activities are shown to make the outcomes that you're desiring? Look at your knowledge base, what others have done, what they're doing, and what's working. So when you get around the table to create the logic model, I recommend that you answer a few questions and come to some conclusion or consensus amongst those that are working on the logic model. What is your program? Can you actually develop your program into 3 short sentences? What is your program? What does your program do? Does it increase parent knowledge? Does it increase or change teacher behavior? At the end of the day, who are you serving? Are you serving the teachers, the parents, the students, some assortment of all of those? And how do they benefit? Are they benefiting from training that they can implement then in their classrooms? Are they benefiting from some educational pieces so they can better know the rights and the responsibilities that they have as a parent and can better advocate for their children? And how do you know that your program is a success? And this is crucial in determining your logic model. How will you know if you've been successful? And that's really your long-term outcome. So this slide shows a very basic sample logic model. You can see that in our inputs we have staff and volunteers and money and materials. And this is for a parents center logic model. So some of the activities are parent training workshops. Parents are going to receive information that's been disseminated to them, and they're going to get some responsible parenting presentations. As you can see from the participation, they're the parent training and information centers, they're the resource centers, and parent organizations. So short term, we're going to increase parent knowledge. Through the activities, because of these activities, they're going to increase parent knowledge. Long term, we're missing a midterm piece here, but long term, we're hoping that because they've increased parent knowledge, we're going to have improved results for children with disabilities. If we stuck a midterm one in here, it might be that parents are changing their behavior, that they are advocating for their children based on the information that they've learned through the activities. Along the bottom of this logic model, you'll see a long one bar that's project objectives, and under that process measures and outcome measures. In the second presentation, we'll get into more details about creating the objectives and the measures that go along with this logic model. But you can see that your project objectives cut across both your outputs and your outcomes. This is another example of a personnel development program. Now this is a logic model for the program. This is not a project logic model, but it shows you or gives you an example of what the personnel development program is trying to do, a snapshot of their activities and their short, intermediate, and long-term outcomes. Again, here you can see from the activities that they're going to train personnel and build models and develop and disseminate resources. As a result of those activities, they want increased supply of fully qualified personnel, increased collaboration, and increased training opportunities. Because they've increased the supply and these training opportunities, there should be an increased placement of fully qualified personnel. As a result of that, we're going to increase the retention of fully qualified personnel in the workforce. This is another example of a sample logic model. This one for the Technical Assistance and Dissemination Program Logic Model. Again, this is a program logic model, not a project logic model. But it gives you some ideas of the types of activities they're doing and the outcomes that they hope to accomplish through those activities. Some logic models have a goal across the top. This one, improved outcomes for children with disabilities and their families. So you can see all of the activities that they have listed are working toward those goals, as well as the short-term, midterm, and long-term outcomes. This one, since it's a program logic model, they have activities at the agency level, and then they have activities that they expect through the funded projects. The dissemination activities, the knowledge development activities, and the leadership and collaboration activities are all activities that would happen at the project level. Short-term outcomes might be increased collaboration, increased quality and relevance of the products, and increased knowledge and awareness. So midterm, because of the increased knowledge and the increased collaboration, we might see some increased efficiency and effectiveness. We're going to increase the use of high-quality, relevant, and useful products. And all of those are working toward more of a long-term outcome of improved implementation of IDEA and improved capacity and infrastructure to implement these promising practices. Again, those outcomes all working toward our ultimate goal of improved outcomes for children with disabilities and their families. So this slide shows you a way to do a logic model exercise, answering the questions that we posed in a few slides back about what your program is, what you're hoping to accomplish. You can try to place your own parts to this logic model in here with your inputs, what it is you're investing, what activities you're doing, who's participating in those activities, and then your short, mid, and long-term outcomes. One way to develop a logic model for some people is to work backwards. What is your ultimate long-term outcome? Put that in and then determine what needs to happen in order to accomplish the long-term outcome. What change do we need to accomplish to get to the long-term outcome? Then what change do we need to accomplish to get to that midterm outcome? Then thinking about what activities. So basing it on the questions that we posed earlier about what does the research say? What are the best practices? What activities, what things do we need to do, and who do we need to include in our participation in order to accomplish those outcomes? So working backwards is sometimes easier to conceptualize the logic model. So now take some time to sketch out your logic model for your project. After you've completed that, I would suggest listening to the next presentation on project objectives and process measures. Thank you.